This is Coaching Club TV, and for this month's Coach to Coach, we are talking about coaching supervision, a very important topic. And with me today, I have David Leeper. Now, David is a Master Certified Coach. He is one of the founding members of the Association for Coaching here in the UK, and he's been coaching and working in the field of leadership development globally for 20 years now, which is just about as long as coaching has been around as a profession. David is also an accredited coaching supervisor with the CSA. So who better to talk to us about coaching supervision than David Leeper? David, thank you for being here.
Okay, it's good to be here.
What exactly would you say coaching supervision is today, and what can a coach expect to gain from having a supervisor?
The first thing I'd say about that is see supervision as supervision. So that is, to me, is about insight. So it's an insightful process for an individual. It's about self-awareness. It's about a developmental process. It's about being accountable to themselves, but that being facilitated, hopefully exquisitely, by a supervisor working with them. It's about a working alliance. So this is where two people are rolling up their sleeves, and the focus is going to be on the coach and on the work that they're doing. There's going to be models and templates that are going to be used to help the examination of that process. The outcome for the coach is they're going to go away humbled, engaged, developing an action plan that they are going to work on to improve their practice.
And when in a coach's career should they start thinking about engaging a supervisor?
From the beginning of that career. Okay. So it's interesting. I think the first question I'd be asking is, why wouldn't I have a supervisor? For me, in the early days, somebody may have just gone and done an NLP-based coaching qualification. As they begin to mature from that, then those modalities are going to become much richer. So really, in terms of the supervision element of that, then I'm looking for somebody that can really hold this space. You know, we talk of coaching as holding the space. How do I hold the space with my client? What are the inputs? What are the outputs? What's actually going on within that field? I want a supervisor who can hold this space. And the more experienced I become, the more I need somebody who is able to work with me, not get deflected by one of those modalities, but can help me explore for myself.
Buyers of coaching are becoming more and more aware that supervision is a part of a coach's practice. Mm-hmm. Should they be looking for coaches that are supervised? What difference does it make to the buyer of coaching?
If somebody has a supervisor, they're actually making it quite clear that they're serious about their professional practice. That's one critical element for me. I think secondly, there's an acknowledgement of accountability. So that person is actually saying the ethics and the governance of what I do is a critical part. So you can feel confident as a buyer of my work. So it's about checks and balances. It's about also supervision talks about a reflective practitioner. So this is going to be somebody who really has got a level of self-awareness and has got a skill level that hopefully can be quite penetrating in the way in which they're working with the client, who's actually going to hold that client to account so that the company can feel that there really is value being added quite significantly in employing that coach to do that piece of work. You see, in my early practice, it was very much that in clinical practice, like within the counselling psychotherapy world, you would say for so many client hours, you would have a one-to-one with the supervisor. In the coaching world, as I've experienced it from the beginning, it's been much more, well, let me have a monthly or a bi-monthly session, or let's have peer supervision between a group of us. All of that needs, I think, examining going forward, and I would accept it may well be about caseload. It may well be about the impact that the coaching is having. So if I'm working with a team and and just helping them with effectively coaching skills is very different if I'm holding a space with a group managing director who now has acquired a European-wide business, a pan-European business, who has got a whole number of nuances from multicultural activity through to different economic structures within different countries. You know, there's so much more complexity. The more complexity, the more I would encourage a one-to-one supervision practice.
You still have a supervisor.
I do.
Now, you're my supervisor, and I love the fact that my supervisor has a supervisor.
Okay.
But what are you still learning from your supervisor after all these years?
I know that in the background, whatever work I'm doing, I know I'm going to go and sit down with my supervisor. We have a relationship. They have the ability to be objective, not to get drawn into the drama of my world, but to be able to sit outside of that drama. They are able to get me to engage with whatever I'm bringing to them. One of the key pieces in that is that we've got a good model that we're working to. And so I've got to get in something like the seven-eyed model, which anyone who knows about supervision training will know that is an excellent model to have available to them in their supervision practice. There it is there. There's 7 eyes here. You can see 7 numbers. One there would be the coach system and the client situation. In terms of my coach, the way they're working with their client, what is actually that system that's working, and it might be an exploring around that. Number 2 is looking at the coaching interventions and the strategies that they're using. 3 is looking at the relationship between the coach and the client. 4 is looking at the coach's own experience. 5 then is bringing us towards the supervisor, my relationship with the coach. 6 is supervision. 7 is the wider organisational context, the field phenomena as we call it. I'm listening to my client who's beginning to present, and I'm sensing intuitively that I want to really help them look at, is this about you and the way in which you're responding to your client? Is this about your client? Is this about other stakeholders, that field phenomena? So this is about, they're talking about a manager or a report, or they're talking about an external stakeholder with them. What are the dynamics of that? And this model, so we're not saying, right, I think it's this eye. But one of the things I'm definitely looking out for is there something being reflected between my supervisee and me that we call parallel process? Is there something that's coming here that's got an aha moment that is about them and their client, that is actually being reflected in some way unconsciously or consciously in this piece of work that I'm doing with them as their supervisor? So a framework like this is a superb framework, and for me, in my practice, this has been excellent professional development.
David, thank you for being here today, for your time, your insights and your wisdom. For more information on coaching supervision, take a look at the Association for Coaching's website, the ICF's website. They have a list of the requirements of a coaching supervisor, as well as what is expected of you as a coach in your practice when you start to look for accreditation. This has been our Coach to Coach for July for the Coaching Club, and I'm Tremaine. I'm the founder of the Coaching Club and an executive coach.